Hello everyone, how are you? I'm fine. Yesterday I returned from a weekend in Rimini where I had a lot of fun. Also, this year I will go back to school after a long hiatus. As you know, today is the 6th of September, and even today the philosophical calendar offers us a splendid sentence. Today's sentence is: if we wait until we are ready, we will wait for the rest of our life. Reading this sentence, I immediately thought of something to which I am unfortunately very attacked: laziness. Unfortunately, I usually live with laziness and a lack of desire to do things. I feel like I'm stuck in the pleasures of life and don't want to do my duties. It is like a destructive tunnel. So, I thought, why not give you some useful advice to defeat laziness once and for all? I'm sure many of you are exactly like me. So, let's get started. Would you like to be more productive and find out some useful tips on how to overcome laziness? Well, whether you are a college student or a worker, or both, you will surely have had moments when the urge to laze was truly irresistible. In fact, we are not always predisposed to be productive. There are times when, for a variety of reasons, our determination drops and our desire to get busy remains at an all-time low. If you think you are lazy and would like to understand how to fight laziness, you are in the right place. Here's how to fight laziness in just a few steps. For anyone committed to peak performance, personal development, self-fulfillment, and self-control, laziness can seem like a deadly enemy to be utterly defeated. But where to start to eliminate mental laziness and all those resistances that inhibit our growth? When we talk about laziness, we usually mean the desire to be idle, to do nothing, and to resist effort. It is a real state of passivity away from action, which tends to leave things as they are. Sometimes a little laziness is completely justified, such as after a long day of study or work. However, if the urge to do nothing happens too often and negatively on your life, it means that it is time to act. Are you lazy or overwhelmed? Understanding how to overcome laziness is important. But are you sure you are really lazy? Well, there are several people who are actually active and productive who identify themselves as lazy because they spend their free time relaxing or have projects they want to carry on but have not finished. In a dynamic society, which always wants us to be busy, dedicating yourself to idleness or your passions can be experienced almost as a mortal sin. In this case, it is easy to convince yourself that you are not focused, productive, or active enough. Have you wondered if yours is a real laziness or just the need to carve out a few hours for yourself? The first thing you should do is identify the problem, if there is one, and secondly, understand its triggers. An excessive amount of work risks overwhelming you, and in this case, laziness and the desire to laze could be a psychological response to too high a stress load. In reality, defining yourself as lazy does not help you get to the heart of the problem. On the contrary, it risks becoming almost an alibi that does not explain to you how to correct certain problems. More than laziness, your problem could be lack of self discipline. You don't know how to stick to a schedule or complete a project. You get distracted often and fail to make a serious commitment to yourself. Unrealistic expectations. To understand if you are really unproductive, you will need to set goals and measure your performance. If the feeling of inactivity continues, it is likely that your goals are unrealistic and that you are too hard on yourself. Lack of motivation. Have you asked yourself why you make a certain commitment? What is the engine behind your actions? If you feel understimulated, it could be a lack of motivation. As you can see, laziness is often just an alibi that hides a bigger issue to manage. To counter this mechanism, always set realistic and measurable goals. Set yourself a discipline and set daily goals to be absolutely achieved. And give yourself rewards when you reach your goals and indulge in some treats to reward your discipline. Break down your activities. When it comes to how to overcome laziness, a valuable piece of advice is to break down each activity into small goals. We often avoid doing certain tasks because we find them too big, too overwhelming, too tiring, or too time consuming. Breaking down a task into several smaller tasks can solve this problem. This way, you will no longer have excuses to complete your business because you will no longer perceive it as difficult or intimidating. This system will help you to overcome many resistances and will improve your productivity at work but also in study. Taking a concrete example, instead of importing the study of an entire manual, break this material down into short chapters to study every day. It will be easier for you to tackle this task and complete it brilliantly. Analyze your habits. There are habits that are very harmful to our productivity, even if on the surface they may seem harmless. If the first thing you do when you get home is throw the keys on the coffee table, lie down on the sofa, and turn on the TV, you are preparing for an unproductive evening. How can all this discourage you? Let's say your goal is to lose a few pounds. You would like to be able to exercise, but you have told yourself that you are too lazy to engage in this activity. In reality, what you need is a change of habits. Instead of diving on the sofa when you get home, put on your tracksuit and go for a walk or a run. According to scholars, to create a new cycle of habits, it takes about 20 days. The first times will be hard, but then it will be really natural and reaching your goals will be easier and easier. Avoid the escape routes. When you have a day of study or work ahead of you and laziness assails you, you probably resort to an escape route that distracts you from your commitment. For this very reason, it is important to remove all those things that you usually use to procrastinate. The question you need to ask yourself is, where do I usually run away from instead of doing my job? The answers could be different. You could engage in chatting with friends, in social media, video games. Eliminate these escape routes and discipline yourself. Removing distracting elements from in front of you will help you stay focused. Finally, learn from successful people. To understand how to overcome laziness, there is no better way to study the behavior and habits of successful people. Learn from them. Talk to people you think are successful and ask them what their secrets are. Overcoming the habit of laziness is achieved through a series of daily actions and activities when one chooses to act instead of remaining passive. Each time you overcome your laziness, you become stronger and you get closer to the goals to be achieved. Let yourself be contaminated by a positive environment and successful people. Read biographies of people who have made their mark and books on productivity and time management. You will see that by applying our advice, the results will not be long in coming. And you? Do you define yourself as a lazy person? Hope this video was helpful to you. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.